Lejimbe tondila ta ombu kenchen na duke kapna lo taipchi yasinda judela leshara dula te ditse ani basna lo dorin le bebo da tabin jeba te ditse nga chegi jachale sunchi ma phopchi dile nga cheregi pham gyenshu jongub jaksara themela dinalo nga che jachale chuta ma phopchi la te ta ditsu kaira nga chegi te chidi nga che juyop ta nga chera zumlo la dilu nga chegi jachale ma phop manola medite nga che kaita Zutubla beru dingdi kaya chala zemi be boda te kaya dangda piwalu te ngache jungi gari be lachadi mopale ma nyung suchi be bila ngache kelrin shabtudin naludi nasami nyung su be la jende chaptala tane be gole te kaya ma phopi da blu jungla jongi bombe phopna bala te ta 탑통다 티디 ngache ki video la
다 카체슈치 아니 토미 멜랑아 치기 다리 톰리기 들골 데 묘에 간레 미 가라 데베 나나루 데 시원 오니 메발라 다니 베바들루 다리 nga체라 왕보 겐진 수기 델레지 다까지도 세워진 데 코라 마슈지 왕보 겐진 수가 갈레 랄룬 데 nga체라 다 휠체어 고라 칸티 콜루 짐고 온디기베 묘에 간레 디날루 딱코 디날루 nga체라 들골 날루 시니기 델레 다 튠겐 디스야 가데베 차한디기 예비나 디수치 랍다 마칠라
다 엄ponkin chingi tenledinga chigi thunkindiga chigi da duko basnadi matutupera pidose shuni dedi nga chigi ta khoragi wheelchair se na sunduzumbe wheelchair jusigi nga chigi ane zodi basnalo dile khoragi wheelchair jasigi sagunge nga chigi basna duko basna matutupe zodi la dida thidi nga chigi tami genshoda dile alukini ansugi tenle nga chigi desigi satoe nga chigi te sosobera ewa te 다 탈레베 컬러레 베디베르가 지기 만로베 조디라 데 비디오 세션이
다 모바일 앱스 키 퀄리티 다 지기 순데라 다니 베베들 모바일 앱스 티기가 지기 같이 베닐루 펜토니나 아니 지수나 마친다
모바일 앱 티 베와진라 라나서기 땅가 지기 다리나 바 베와진가 지기 버스티 뒤체 감치가 온도가 가텔레 온도가 지기 다음에 좀 해봐 다 달라파가 지기 같이 베도서 와진 GPS 바산로 GPS 코디네이션 세빌라 디당가 지기 모바일디 tenga chigi chika khatikpinala khalabni zoshimde dile rana sosota iksanale te tama yurimbe gumangoni tenela te bas de katele onde kata ran kati chenina te sago bas kasagi sago gi mingdisu kare tiktibe chinde te ditsup chi nga chigi bas katele onde ga katem chiga tuse anji rangi bas kasagi satungde sago dinal hyusupka te anda tidi te misetsul pen bombaira thongse shunila
라서 다 다리 nga지라나 톰리 켈딘 샵도기 카톨리 데 마도지 nga지 같이 통해서 진다 모바일 앱스 티기 메시지니다 디날루 라나소수기 데 다도랑 이상나이 데 치갈루 nga지라기 라나소수기 다 록디 데 추루 데 nga지라 이상기 디세디 소에간레 데록 침나 조고바 진다 nga지라기 톰리 켈딘 기 샵도디 바스디 데 가디 해지가 디시디스야 가랑 아지라 모바일 앱스 날레베 디날루 다진이 메슈닐라 딘 카르마 나기 바날루 딘 카르마 추담기 바날루 디수 가뎀지 칼루 데 켈든 샵도기 데 디수디 헤도가 텔레 랑기 디날루 다짐데 디수 가라 데 베츠네메 세슈닐라 다니베들루 공페기 당아지라 주와치 데 토미메 세슈닐라 다 토드드라치 아니 슈고벨라 당아지라기 다리 치갈루 따와진 가지라 치 개합날레 봤다 셴기 개합날레 봤다 오달루 가지라 때 줄콜 샵도기 켈든기 바스티스 조사기 람디스에 소소베라 토미멜라 다니베도 다리 가지라 나즘지 베와진 조바차치 가라 이산날루 옴비기 갑루 마치라기 때 람디스야 땡아치기 조바 랑기 조사기 사고나도 헤마수베도 다리 켈든 샵도기 바스티기에 베르베데스루 티강일디 주니메발라 단베도 마옹발루 차지리 짬 슈누 슈아레 베도가 가데베치 라 차지지
las to digi tekalapta di ta nga chegi ani lam ta duko basket tenla nga cha lam so gopchi nga chegi jungle show phu sai te nga cha chika chektim zomde chap sai ta jungda chika te ta pena be wachin la ta tu ya nga cha RMA da ya supreme court ki ani lam bo jacha jaki bombe no me de nga cha basket tenlera te chidi chaji ane be basket nunko basket tenlera samde bila tani boda ta lamkha male ya nonzelu babitsale yata khani bebila te mata babitsa khata juse khani besale te khariri lamriri surlam riri ngachalu te dikubas kitale no suba chinse te dinga cha zomdu thopso sei jungi bere jabno noni se khasi di thomdigi honero ngachalu jab no japchu beu besei dile pa RSA traffic ge da ngache gi japti khongi roading di ber fini ise te khasi de bi de di hole ta ngache gi tengte chi te ngache zomdu da tenju chi jamni be bi la da na le ta ngache gi lamdi di top subse te khongi japchur de ngache lo shibum bera fyung se ngache ri chikek tro yela de
당아지라기 다리 숨지기 내땅로 비워진 당아지라기 켈든 샵도 바스티 당아지라 다 사고 지나로 다 구고베 발라 다 10 미터에서 10고베 미터에서 시고벨라 다 텐젤기 사고 지나 이메 발라 디수야 녜진 베디기 예갈라도 가디비 라냐 당치 다 다리 가리 당아지라 num고 바스티수야 데 마슈지 데 디나루 옴비간레 사고 디수야 자기다 디수야 고베 발라 수 가디비치라
아니 디코 바스 자스다 각사기 사고디 때 ngache 마파 해마기는 ngache 유라 가라 라스기 바스 각시 인 스메기 ता तेंद्र जाही बाला राताले पा मंडो चिका चीज वचिनानी बक्स कक्सगी सागुदी पुरा ngachi को जीपीएस कोऑर्डिनेशन स ngachi ani कोऑर्डिनेशन 잡ते बिला अनि कोऑर्डिनेशन दी ते ngachi बस चिका बस की ठिचे चुनालु खाला दिले लाचा दिसु का टिकटी तो तुमी दी ते अनि सागुदी दिसु का टिकटी जो दिले नागी जीपीएस की नालु ठिचे चिका खाला बि दी ते बस मी रडिबा दिसु कातले जुई कातले थना अनि खनि खाला बि दी ते त बस काक्ते सागुदी का टिकटी बेजो जीपीएस कोऑर्डिनेशन चिन ita jungisa yega megata jungisa ya salapa ngache bas de lejimbe kaksi zoni gi mi gudi te mi gi dosi kongi mi jusagi sako de tse katebe zotu ka kaira khalapti te ruthom de gi japchu matutu pe pidela te dala pata kongi sako lalu chinalu da ani de chim di chapni ye gutsudanu te dala pa lalu chinalu te kongi chaji sam manil di tso ka tikti zobe te ta chapni gi lerime chamdola dina
Jilba yonglo kuzu zambo, chomde keldin japto nalo jimba leso, rangsui nyusungi deglo kare lale tapti sato jana.
다도 ngachira na te thomde dilgorgi nalo shabdo nalo sidi gibe dari ngachira motab zum jibe go dangba ngachi nale ma jibe jodo sishunila dato te ngachira na te changzam tolebe ma babesa gi sago nalo te joe gara i sishunila dari kongi te thomde kelden shabdo gi dinalo tingen deso gachira jusi wajin te dangba ngachira gi te smart card di me sishunila dichu ngachi gi mangyel di dinalo jube di ngachira gi ra ziu chauchira dinalo chachi te rangil lalin thap te ten joy gale di lalin thabe gale tanga chira gi mangil disue dinale tiktibe tok bani me sishunila ni bagi thaigalu yebda biwaji ngachira dari khongi katile mobile apps debe zodi gi bidula mobile apps ti ngachira gi chuchen mobile nalu te ngachira gi da julgor shabdo de gati hejiga diche biwaji kadimji goni mega dichwe danale ba ngachigi shechuni mela te dyun karma wa dechigi banalu ra henigi sagona inseoji da dinalu rangi te tiktibe henime bala dalido disi diche rangi hagobe te rangi shabdo diche chunime sishunila danilo dari ngachira ko te julgor shabdo digi te gombe jo te tingin disu masam chambela zodi gibe do sishunila
ngachi lakti shokzindi te hemabe watching ngachi shokzindi shokugube te durudi tsoe te da ngachi nalu de yuptsu chika la cd re tigube bala da dala phade memba smart card se tanga chi gansumbe bela atm zumbela te ani di lagling katebe tapni mo sawachin la ta ani gi nonze di ngachi gi kaira te manil di tsurangi rangi ani tabdi da tab katebe digala ani da thidi turudi tsutsu bomala manil di ana tiktibe tsutsu bom ta ani di ngachi gi analu tenzumbe kewe junichirila palu atm zum patsuni da kachemi ani analu ani ke watubla ani ke uchite nale ro khara gi sungchi junirila dinalo da ani lacha dis ka tiktibe ba chinte karin chese themla te dinalo lacha ma chom te atili manul ditu nyusu chibe ba malama chinte dinal la matub lokti kena se te yanchin te manile malame se te ditu kaira jongkhana be te mi ka gi ha ko be yula dinalo
dinalo tiruchi ngachi kadebe chunigi lamlukchi kadebe la
te ta manil de analu tiru katebe chuni ma sa wachin la ta tu gutamba gutsupta di te ngachi na ngachi gi sa thomde kelden gi eksanalu te ngachi gi ani tandeke jeba cheme chung ngachi gi eksana chengo dinala ngachi gi te karta chikabe te kongi karti ta ngachi gi nyushu tur jaribe te jachibe te jai te dida thi kongi manil de khona kamchi chunna te dida tinga chigi iksanale be chukti phiungla dala pa nga chigi shulegi ta dauchigi nangkolo chaji ka tebe samdo sawachi te ade bhavitsa bawachi bhavitsa lo dile adangre na dile thomgi bulu te nga chigi ta turutu sigi agents la me bala te nga chigi chongko epti chungi de chi tadola lejimbe te disunalo te nga chigi mission ke jang thiche de su turutu niki te kongi dinalo chenbe te turudi rong kamji chunna rangi dida rangi tabdinida thidi te phalu kholo shuwajin te kongi be chukti phimsa shuni
다 도 배워진 것이라나 때 것이라 톰디 켈든 샵도기 때 눈콘 나도 이시슈니라 다 디날로 쪼라다리 때 것이라 때 켈든 눈콘 나루 때 공기 가도리 튕균 디수 마도 같이 같이라 예빈다 디수 때 같이 나는 말 때들은 베리기 비피게스 슈니라 달리나 때 것이라 튕균 디수기 콜리지 슈고벨라 디수 같이 같이 다오라 예라 때 나루 텔레 디티 디수야 베루 것이라 질바 찾잡 되니기 때문에 디수야 가dim치가
당하체 디버기 된레 돔 데티 돔기 케치 구이라 dile ya long de ta jendi be chemisulu tenga chigi kechi de chipungla te dinalu ta ngachara nyuzin chengi de sisela te ro mi pamgen show dile alukini mi lamda ro anim ditsugi tenle be ngachigi te mandobe te ji na fidu te dida chika turunga chigi ta wheelchair se te kongi denle jaside na al fidu te kongi de anibe tapkidam nunca passo giuda te ma paucibe te jasigi sawe dinai te dida dobe nga chigila ani ta ro migi ma thami sulula te ansulu te nga chigita kachiwe sawajin te voice mail sala te nalu dakubeni namchugi koni te dakube me te sagu katilu lechiga ta dale gutsupta shumagi de baskaksegi sagu de katina kaira te nawabedigi te soyanga nga chinalu te 뒤책이 돌레베 평소 신이라 데 디다 도베 들은가 책이다 TV세 나 TV 유 스크린 보드세 유 다나로테 다 인주로 벤트 페차즈 미츠기데 아날리시스 포지션이라 버스 다 가테 간나 아니 주 아날로 가이레 TV 나티 용 아날리시스 포지션이라
다 징아 지라 사고 날로 지날로 히다 미디스 테니 미디스 지니기 테갈로 heb달로 디세 가뎀지데지 공울라 카르마 베어신 양진 카르마 가디지 공우가 디수 가데비라
다니 미츠 주이텐 보다 치디 마바 미기 많이 다 티데 야제 벌 데버다 같이기다 치탕나 베와진테 카차 숨치데치 가면서 카차세 세컨스 멤버 버스 뎁치 딜레미 주치 미로 테민 템치 야제 벌 다니 베니디기 같이기다 다트나 다큐베미 미 티채널에 다큐베미다 니라 미츠파 그란세기 카스기 사고나 마렙 체칼에 다큐베말 다 슈마기 디쿠바스 카스 사고다니 te temi ditsu tari bena se te ditsu rangi ka labar zunshimdala te nalu chen te gogi tawalu chengola chenbe jenbe te teni gi tari bego bol te nga chegi dinalu ta karma be kap doida bajin te bas disina le ni gi laka chemne me bol te ta tu dugi kapne de nga chegi ta karcha sumchudi ruchi tangna me te ma pa karma chi lamalo chi di gung se shuni
디수 남레다 다링아 저라기 다 톰데 켈든 샵도디 남레다 삽디다 남레 고추니기 차시리 짬디가 다 텔레치 마저기 다리 줄바 차잡 땡아치라나 톰디 때 켈든 샵도디 나루 시베간레 마저기 베투 마투 디수 미두시 카톨레 다지 베고 디수기 지 소나 마친라
디쿠바스 키 샵도디 삽디 땡아치 다리기 인데기 다리 주디 데치레 땡아치 고지 텐데제심데 테 디기 토티베라 땡아치 구츠베 바니 인세션일 데다 나루 메세기 다 샵도 슈미기 같이 tu sagi jegub do sawajin la ta mashugira ngachi diko basi sochirala te danzi jungi gari begole danzi bemi chemche meteme bala la luchigi ngachi gi ta basabna zu kapto chap delen ani sagi majeba dele ngachi gi desigi dese kaipe iguti dele chani ditsuko duma jime ditsugi dumagi sato dese diko basna ba ko basti nasmite zonra de dembe janigi 나스 까니 포도 발 에다 디코 ngachi basnalu cheme kara be dibere de tsudle te ta diku basti jungi member rangi zumberala shule be odan ranlura pembe bal ngacha shule dinar changop thong ten bodi hin sangsabe jani chila chidinga chigi lacha ditsu te ta juda di ngachi gi na da dev ditsu ge taung kyar ke gola te ran tensi sagunalo makyo ta makir tubese no te tenjowa chindele ani lam rem di babitsale ya dangrena tutegi lacha di tukchide chi pawachin tukchide protok ba jula ferangi tensi saguninalu jis sagu na le ya karte tiktibe ke tense sagu na tiktibe ke be thya su ba chin te ani sagu gi la chadi ge me to bala turi chenga besa chenga chutam besa chutamla te gatim chibe nga chigi ani nalu sta tu shudo zumbe mambewa jis sagu na le ke da be ten sagu na ma ke wa chin te lamrem gi toni la tukchu ba chin tukchu to ba ju jachi ba jachi to ba ju ra ru gen te ani ron lu tu som le jimbe je de te junlu tenga ati shasa hin tsaki go le be te atiri kati jusale keni chida tensale keni chi zenas shuni
아니 디남섬이 카체에서 슈닐라 당가지라기 나바난세 다 톰디켈든 샵두디 고주슈날레 카체슈까지 두세워진 데타리 가지라기 스마트 카드 데날레 발랄린 탑님에 랑아치기 데라티 쇼크진디 라그린 탑님에 디탑잉알리 시저기 사고날리 지우지라 텐사기 사고날도 헤비갈리랑기 데 스마트 카드 디날루 라그린 탑디기베 텐사기 사고 아날루 인세랑기 마베오더 지베와진 데 디날루 가지라기 라티디 사고 데 타링쇼 가디비나 가디센지 tenga chara gelden bus di choina dinalu tenga chara ki lati de anim chi toni me sishunila tani bebelu dinamisa minga chara dilba chacha bi khatuli belu hago te khache sishunila ta darigi te lerimdi inalu ta chora tenga chara ki tari te thomde gelden shabdo sab shizu bejinali su te kongi khatule tenga chara ki tingin du se ma tubbe tenga chara ki ta chishu du zumbe me te smart card te lati shok zindi su te lenga chara ki te ongbu kenjin desu topomi disu ki ten lebelu tenga chara 때 간지 콜로 잼디스 윌체어디스 샤사기 사고 텔랭아치라 미 겐쇼 팜 겐쇼 데 디수기 된 사고 때 마두투 베조디기 베두 세슈니 나타니 베바들로 때다리 마치라 켈든 샵두디기 때 질당 미스데스루 펜통 노이기 로이 세슈니 때다리 리림 지나미 용도 같이 때 가딘체 세슈니
Nyele kadom lenzogi sedebe mena shungshe beyebi chachezu gongse jendurge thole zone imle renduru ikchazu chida chunyebi chese gogin nangke iksai dusoka timpuda finsulin iksanale topsu seime renduru ikchazu chida chunyebi chese dungi churu chuse ngagin nangke timpu iksada chida chunyebi chese goge churu chuse ngagin nangke finsulin iksana tsugobda ikchazu chida chunyebi chese chutamje ruba chuse chutamlo finsulin gi iksana me kapchini seime shungshe beyebi chachegi kasetsu yongde chago www.acc.org.btnale thopsoni da kaseidonu iksai dusoka Ramesh Kumar Kadwal da chika chidun gasum shisum gage thulu tewa zena seime
Duklokme lezengi sada beminna chida chuchipe chise chusu za nyimlo toba chuse gule chiru chuse ngadan karma sumchusen timbu duklopte tsawalu yebi lokme tiyam kebi chuchi bemidi poshugi la beni imle di kap pelki lopte sakhonda jangbandu jang gitapu kinsel podang duklopta BBE iksangi sakhong dele jang samto sakhong sunalu lokme shabto meo seme Jatap madu jumilu seba shenas immase duklome lezengi honle lasu kadi jojo penilu tsunshu keon seme kasel gidelu chetal gongya ang ji ni nga lekor gi thole jawa thapna seme Tashi kadul lezengi sada bemina mixel karma shibju shenga gi ring du gehap gi zechadan tembe kanrisu tashi lerimdi lok kozuni seme dian chida chuchibe chise chusunle za nimdan daw atara pudul beni ime kasel gideno joba chusi gule chiru chusi ngasen tekarang jini sum shiki tole jowa tapnidan yanchin lokchin kajang info@bhutanls.pt gi tole jowa tapna seme
Somse zonka takchungi sada bemina dele mimang yongi shule tab madeu mathunigi denlu chilo nikton keji ji loi lotar satesu chida chunibiki chise sumchuso chigi nangke tabna seme khaselge denlu lekor nga sumdu nga dudu lekorda sumdu nga dunni lekor yana sumdu nga geshi dungi tolu dewa tabna seme
Duk jutin segi seda bemina my BT app ki
know your customer gi thole rangsui sim shoksu dutin begobda shule tab madu mi juni gi dunlu rangsui sim su ngotel la ke da chika deltut be na si me
Chomde kelden shabdo iksangi dupa yongi tab dehi gi dunlu chomde duko gi dulam sap chi guzuni dulam dia gelchin shunlam chi da yanla dulam chusu yebi gelchin shunlam dia ngabe phule dare na thunju sagoda dare na le ngabe phu chunchu imda dulam dekha dyun karma chutham regi bana chomde duko re dudul benida dizumbera yanla dulam dikhaya karma chenga le khechi gi bana duko re dudul beong se shuni yanla dulam chusu mi digi gelchin shunlam gu thubni da yanla lam sugi bana dodul beong se shuni chomde kelden iksagi khathule dulam sap gu chugo media chomde duko shapto gi chapse yarsentane da thunji sago chuna dyun mambe gu mengoni dala duko nalo epta chamango ba chatab deto tobe dodul besuni gi denlo imle khasel gi denlo chomde kelden shapto isada chikha dewa jena se shuni
Bema gesar do bola yatsin choge ni dromi bema juni shisoda kodo kandro mang biskor chige jisoda droge jingi lapshi shisose guru bema se de Guru Pema Siddhi Om Ahum Basa 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 Guru Pema Siddhi
In the headlines, the Prime Minister says he will bring back the Mines and Minerals Bill in the Parliament next year. A study finds that it is feasible to shorten the 5-year plan system to 3 years. And low wage forces workers to quit jobs in Jemka. Welcome Zangpala and welcome. You're watching BBS News. My name is Cheku. People should expect another heated debate on the Mines and Minerals Bill in the Parliament next year. The Prime Minister said he will table the bill again in the summer session of the Parliament since the deferred bill cannot be discussed in the same year.
The Prime Minister said that it is his moral responsibility to bring back the bill to the Parliament. The Prime Minister said that the whole debate around the bill is now perceived as the government not supporting the state ownership of mines and minerals. He said the government will take this remaining time to discuss properly the provisions of the Mines and Minerals Bill. The opposition leader said he is doubtful that there would be any change.
The government has to really, bring everybody on board to discuss about it. Try to bring everybody, maybe even other stakeholders like DHI, and because DHI is a key stakeholder as well here. So it will have to depend on two things: seriousness of the government in bringing everybody on board and discussing the issues thoroughly, first of all. Second, it will depend on their sincerity, meaning that how much they will be able to keep national interests above party interests.
The chairperson of the National Council, on the other hand, said that the House might probably not have an opportunity to discuss the bill even if it is tabled again due to the procedure of passing a bill. As per the chairperson, the two houses agreed that the strategic mines be managed by the state and leave non-strategic mines to the private sector. He said the issue was the difference between the definition of strategic and non-strategic mines between the two houses. The chairperson said the strategic mines are all minerals found in the country with high value, such as dolomite, graphite, and coal, among others. He said the Assembly's definition is, however, questionable. Samton Dolkar, BBS News.
Meanwhile, the Economic Affairs Ministry has revised the Mines and Minerals Management Regulations 2002. It will be implemented in a week or two. The Economic Affairs Minister Loknath Sharma said the country now needs to resume the mining activities.
Since we were expecting the bill to be passed last session and come out as an act, we had suspended giving new approvals for the mining sector. And accordingly, those mining in the country, we have only 3 large mines which used to be auctioned in the past. That was coal, gypsum and dolomite. There are around 36 provisions which we are revisiting. In 36 provisions, there are few new additions, and mostly it is restructuring what was there in the past also. Particularly the section 15 in the Mines and Mineral Management Regulations then prescribes that all the proven or all the predetermined mineral reserve must be auctioned, whereas Act doesn't say that whether it has to be auctioned or not. Act clearly says the ministry has the authority to lease the minerals of the country. So accordingly now we are revisiting these provisions to suit the current need. Like it doesn't have to be auctioned. It might be given also to SOEs, it might be auctioned, it might be, there are many ways we can do it. Similarly, one of the important provision that was missing in the Mines and Mineral Management Regulations 2002 was the community CSR. In most of the mining activities today, it is left up to the mining companies whether to have some community activities, community programs, community benefits, shareholding, etc., etc., etc. We feel that communities are very important stakeholders, particularly in mining, because mining is not a very clean job. It has some disturbances. It has noise pollution, it has dust pollution, and also it also affects their farming activities.
A recent review of Bhutan's planning system has found it is feasible to shorten the planning cycle from 5 years to 3 years. A group of civil servants based at the Center for Bhutan and GNH Studies conducted the research. They referred to the budgetary expenditures, election cycle and development partners coordination for the study.
One of the papers in the review studied the Finance Ministry's budget and expenditure data of all the projects implemented in the 11th and the 12th five-year plan. It concluded that the average duration of implementing the plans is 2.5 years. It means the majority of the projects during the five-year plans were completed in the first 3 years. For instance, in the 11th plan, more than 75% of the projects were completed during the period.
Since 77.4% of project, which is a huge chunk of project, concentrate under 3-year implementation period, there is possibility of having seamless alignment between project cycles and 3-year planning cycle.
However, as per the findings, only those projects worth about 51 million ngitam would be complete within 3 years. Besides, there will be projects such as zone constructions that will take several years to complete and spill over from one plan to another.
There is also existing trend of projects being formulated in the middle of a 5-year plan, and these projects have varying duration of cycle. So if these projects are brought to align with plan cycle, whether it's 3-year or 5-year plan cycle, spillover effect could be reduced.
The 3-year planning system will also provide flexibility for the government of the day to quickly integrate its development manifesto into annual plans and budgets. The report stated that a 3-year planning cycle will require rigorous planning and efficient manpower. It means strengthening the policy and planning division of the GNHC and across agencies, including the local governments. Similarly, the research on the election cycle alongside the planning cycle till the year 2050 highlighted that a 3-year cycle is feasible.
It aligns well with the election cycle and it not be moved forward to align with the election cycle. In the current situation, in the 5-year plan cycle, after 5 years, the 5-year plan will have to be moved forward by 3 months, 90 days in exact terms, because of the vacuum created during the interim government.
This study forecasts that if the 3-year plan cycle is adopted, 2 incoming governments will have to implement the spillover activities of the previous plan for more than a year.
In 2034, the incoming new government will have to implement the spillover activities of the previous plan for 18 months and for 27 months in 2039. However, the spillover activities also occurs in 5-year plan.
As part of the review, a separate study was also conducted to understand the relationship between the development partners and the 5-year plan.
For instance, even if we change our plan duration to 3 years, there won't be a misalignment between the planning duration of development partners and the duration of our development plan. As long as there's a shared objective, shared development objectives between the donor and the recipient country, the development partners will align their plan with the country's existing plan duration.
A 5-year plan has been guiding Bhutan's developmental processes since 1961. As per the report, a new form of governance cycle since 2008 and the ever-changing needs of the economy and citizens have led to rethink the relevance of the planning system and explore a more effective alternative. Meanwhile, it was learned that the GNH Commission is revisiting the planning system of the 5-year plans. Sonam Wongdi for BBS News.
Through technical cooperation with Japan, Bhutan could now look forward to retaining the technology and skills required to build better and sustainable roads and bridges. To this effect, the Department of Roads and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, signed the minutes of the meeting ahead of official approval. The collaboration will ensure capacity development among Bhutanese builders.
Cooperation with Japan has given Bhutan a lot of superior bridges, but it has contributed least to knowledge and skills development. However, the cooperation this time will go beyond the infrastructural development.
Thank you very much. One thing we have observed is that the technology transfer has not happened as much as we hoped. Under this project, we will have road and bridge constructions, and the idea is that there will be experts from Japan, and our engineers and technicians will be working together with these experts so that there will be transfer of technology, transfer of skill to our engineers and technicians.
He said the lack of a skilled labor force in the construction sector has compelled the country to depend on the foreign workforce, which is not idle. However, the current cooperation could build a strong cohort of skilled workforce in the country.
Infrastructure development is one of the most important fields for us JICA to work with Bhutan. Yes, and there are two components. One is hardware. As you know, there are many bridges constructed. And one more is technical cooperation for improve the engineers and technicians' knowledge and skills from the field.
The 4-year project will look at developing a system to strengthen the capacity of engineers and technicians in the road sector. Meanwhile, the JICA's grant aid assistance has supported the construction of nearly 30 bridges across the country so far, and some first of its kind in the world. Choni Dama for BBS News.
The daily wage for the national workforce was last revised more than 6 years ago. With the cost of living skyrocketing in recent years, the workforce is shrinking as more workforce leave for greener pastures. The regional DOR office in Tingtibi of Jemga is struggling to retain its workforce. The national workforce, established in the 1960s, is mostly employed by government agencies like the Department of Roads and the Home Ministry for construction, maintenance of roads and renovation of zongs.
The DOR office in Jemgang has been losing its workforce for quite some time now. What remains of the workforce is also planning to leave the department as their daily wage is not enough to run their homes. Moreover, they are not entitled to retirement benefits.
With a daily wage of 215 ngitam, it is not even enough to buy vegetables like potatoes because a kilo of potatoes costs 50 ngitam. We only get a little more than 6,000 ngitam in a month.
6,450 Our daily wage is not enough. We struggle to make ends meet every month. It would be a great help if the government could do something about it.
It is difficult to survive because the price of goods keeps increasing these days. Moreover, our work is quite risky and our wage is still the same. According to the Tingtibi regional office, they are struggling to carry out daily road maintenance work and recruit new workers when the wage in other sectors is high. The office requires close to 165 workers to maintain over 200 kilometers of road in Jemgang. However, it has only 145 workers today. Meanwhile, the workers fear that in a few years, only the elderly and women will be left in the workforce if the wage remains the same. For Pimasandup in Jemgang, Phukem for BBS News.
Paro Women's FC defeated Yangchapu Women's FC 2-0 in the ongoing Kelmi Bhutan Women's National Football League today. The match was played at the Changlangmithang Stadium. The visitors, Paro Women's FC, scored both the goals in the second half of the match. With the result, Yangchapu Women's FC are yet to book their first win in the league. After several countries, including Canada, Finland and Sweden, took a defensive stance against vaccinating people below 30 years with the Moderna vaccine over heart-related safety concerns, it is now France. The country's health authority recommends that people below 30 years be given Pfizer instead of Moderna.
In a move that will expand the number.
According to a French study published on Monday, the risks of heart-related disease among people under 30 years who took the Pfizer vaccine are around 5 times lesser compared to Moderna. But the French National Authority for Health recommends using Moderna for people above 30 years, stating that effectiveness is slightly superior. As per the authority, until they have more scientific findings on the complications posed by the Moderna vaccine, its recommendation for the use as the first, second or third dose would remain the same. The EU's drug regulator earlier this year said that
it had found a possible link between the rare inflammatory heart condition and Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Meanwhile, the drug regulator last month approved Moderna's booster vaccine for people above 18 years at least 6 months after the second dose. Sringzam, BBS News.
And now recap of our top stories. The Prime Minister says he will bring back the Mines and Minerals Bill in the Parliament next year. A study finds that it is feasible to shorten the 5-year plan system to 3 years. And low wage forces workers to leave jobs in Jemga. And now in the weather forecast, tomorrow it will be mostly sunny across the country, and the day and night temperature is expected to remain the same during the next 24 hours. And on Friday and Saturday, it will be mostly sunny to partly cloudy across the country. Gusty wind is likely over isolated places of northern, western and eastern parts of the country during the next 3 days. And this brings us to the end of the day's bulletin. And on the birth anniversary of His Majesty the Great Fourth tomorrow, the board, management and the staff of BBS come together to wish His Majesty a very, very happy birthday. And we also wish His Majesty a very long life. Thank you, Your Majesty, for being there in the good and the bad times. And thank you for joining us.